does not take money to make money. It takes something a lot more valuable, a lot more scarce, but a lot more available to anybody that wants it, and that's drive, determination, dedication, a willingness to go above and beyond what the average person will stop at. So where the average guy or gal is saying, nah, it's too hard for me, I can't do it, you barrel right on past them. And when you're willing to do that, when you're willing to take it to that extreme, I promise you, I absolutely promise you that without an education, without money, without any of the things that other people seem to be getting by with, you can pass them. And so what are we waiting for? Today I'm going to take you step by step through my journey where I started out as a farm kid with no money, but a desire to better myself. And by the time I'm done, I want you guys to be able to go, holy, this is how I can do it. So what are we waiting for? Let's do this thing. So the fact is, the average hyper successful person has 7 different income streams. Now, before we go jumping on this boat of, oh, I need multiple income streams doing different things, I want you to take the time to become hyper successful in your very first income stream. Get that established before you walk away from that and attempt to start a second, third, fourth, or fifth income stream. And we're gonna actually, I'm gonna actually tell you today exactly how I started down this entire journey. So one of the questions that I get asked a lot of times is, I see you everywhere, I see the jobs you're doing, how do you do it? And I'm going to tell you how I did it, starting with just one of the businesses that I run. And you guys are gonna see what it takes to do it. And then we're gonna talk about how I call it the graduation process, okay? So let's be very clear what the graduation process means. It means that I started out as a little teeny tiny kid working as a laborer. I didn't get started being a manager in a company. My daddy didn't build something for me and hand it down to me. None of that existed. I started out laboring, out just busting my butt. You have to walk before you run. You have to master every single step of the process, and that means starting out on the very bottom. But when you're on the very bottom, what you need to understand is this is a learning opportunity. It's not a ceiling, you're not stuck there. You are going to figure out every nuance of that bottom run, because once you've dominated, once you've mastered the very bottom, there's nowhere you can go but up, because you're gonna feel it here, and that's going to drive you onward and upward to the next step. And every time you step up, you are literally going to become the absolute best you possibly can at that area, wherever you are at. But here's the big but. Do not let yourself and do not let somebody else limit you or stick you in that area, because this is, you're only passing through. You're only passing through, you're only going to stay there as long as you need to stay there to master that area. That is not your final destination. That's just one part of the trip. And here's part of the thing. You guys are going to know when you're done in an area. And you may not have somebody standing right there ready to reach down, grab your hand, and lift you onward and upward to the next level. What that means, though, is that you've got to forge your own path. You've got to figure out how and what you've got to do to take it to the next level. And sometimes when you're trying to figure it out on your own, you're going to take 2 steps forward and you may take 3 steps backwards, but don't let that stop you. That's just part of the learning curve. In fact, the worst mistakes that you make in your life are some of the best things that you can possibly learn from. And the only bad thing that ever happens to you is when you fail to learn from something that happens along the destination. I literally would drive up to new developments, knock on the door and say, can I grade your yard? Can I do landscaping for you? What can I do? That's how I got started. But it wasn't until I had labored for year after year after year did I then buy my first piece of equipment. I bought a dump truck not knowing how to drive it, and I would hop up onto the windowsills of other people's dump trucks and ask them what the knobs and bells meant in their dump trucks. That is how I learned how to operate my own dump truck. So my very first company was an excavating company, but to build an excavating company from the ground up meant I needed a dump truck, which was a key component to that kind of business. A dump truck is an expensive asset to have, so I saved up all of my money over the years and I put a sizable down payment on a dump truck. Problem is, I'd never driven a dump truck before in my life. In fact, I'd never actually even been inside of a dump truck before. And so when I bought a dump truck, I went down to a diesel repair shop and I started to question the mechanics on what all of the different knobs did inside of the truck. They looked at me like I was kind of crazy, but then they started to answer my questions, which gave me enough knowledge to go into the truck, to go take a test so that I could actually pass it and be able to drive it legally on the roads. Then what I did was I hired myself out as a dump truck driver for almost 2 years, just driving that dump truck so I could pay it off, so I could own it outright, so that I could then move on and buy the next piece of equipment that I needed to build my excavating company. And so that's how I got started with one of my very first pieces of equipment. Dump truck. Then I bought a tractor loader backhoe. Then I bought a skid loader, having zero prior experience to operating any of this, and there were no videos, there were no tutorials, there was nothing out there that let a guy get a feeling for what it took, what to look for when you were buying something. So I would go in blindly buying something and then teaching myself how to operate it. I didn't have operator school, so I did the best I could, figuring it out all on my own, which is a lot of the ways that you guys are going to be doing it on your own. But now, you guys, there's resources for you guys to use that you don't have to figure it out all by yourself. And these resources, you guys, are going to put you light years ahead of where I was when I was your age, when I was at your stage of the game, when I was getting started. And I only wish that those resources existed way back then. So I started out as a laborer and I graduated. This is the graduation process, you guys. I graduated from a laborer to an equipment operator. And then I taught myself how to operate all sorts of equipment. Tractors out in the field, loaders, payloaders, excavators, mini excavators, dump trucks. Self-taught, 100%. Everything was self-taught, or me asking somebody to show how to operate a piece of equipment and getting minimal instruction at the very best. That's how I learned. So I'm not a perfect equipment operator, and some of these other YouTube channels out there like to go, oh yeah, blah, 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 and I don't care about them. Okay, so here's the fact, you guys. Don't let anybody stop you, and you need to understand they're going to try. They're not going to want to see you pass them. Even when you can pass them making mistakes, and that's what's going to really piss them off. You will pass them even when you're doing it wrong, because you're willing to work harder, you're willing to give it more, you're willing to do the things they're not willing to do. They're gonna look like they're coasting while you're cruising. And even if you're cruising, screwing up, you're still gonna go further, farther, and faster. And that's when you're gonna get the most haters coming out of the woodwork, going after you. And just understand, it's part of the process. Don't let it slow you down. Let it help you build up speed to leave them even further behind. Their business. I learned how to become an equipment operator, and then I graduated from being an equipment operator to running a job, to being a job site operator. So that meant I was still a laborer. Then I was also running the equipment, but now I was running a job site. Big difference, you guys, okay? So then I went from running single job sites, just one job site at a time, to running multiple job sites at the same time. Now, what I taught myself, of course, nobody taught me how to run a job site. What I taught myself from running that single job site, everything was learned the hard way. But now this graduation process from one to the next goes pretty fast, you guys. I was 21 years old, sitting on the end of my bed, holding my head like this because I landed a $4,000 job, and then a day later I landed a $4,500 job, and I was insanely excited. I could not believe, 21 years old, I've got $8,500 worth of hardscaping jobs that I'm going to go out and do. But then a few years later, I was sitting on the same end of the bed with a $45,000 job, a $100,000 job, and multiple $150,000+ projects coming in, thinking, do I really want that $45,000 project? I don't even know if I want that. It's only $45,000. Do you see how you can graduate up? But here's the most important thing, you guys. It's baby steps. You're not going to move from a $4,500 job instantly to a $45,000 or a $145,000 job. You're not. That process took years, anywhere from 3 to 5 years before I was really starting to do the big multiple projects. And then it wasn't until I started to do YouTube. It wasn't until I started to successfully run multiple businesses where I needed to pull myself further away. I needed to graduate another time, okay? So let's go through this graduation process. Let's be on the same page. I graduated, I started as a laborer. I graduated to being an equipment operator. I ran every piece of equipment I owned and graduated away from running equipment. I could no longer afford to run equipment and run a job site. But then I graduated from running a single job site to running multiple job sites. When we were doing $2 million a year in excavating, we were digging a Menards superstore at the same time that we were digging a Firestone station, the same time that we were putting a 30,000 square foot retaining wall in, and I was running 5 crews simultaneously. So now I graduated from single job sites to multiple job sites, and then I graduated from running multiple projects to just running my business. And then now, ultimately, because of my desire to help you guys, my passion for sharing this journey, I then graduated away from running my businesses at all. Now this concept's going to kind of blow your mind, because you guys will see me at events. If you guys follow along on Instagram, you'll see me at one time I'd be in one city, and then 2 days later I'll be on the other coast entirely. And you guys come up to me and go, how do you do that? Well, I had to teach myself how to let go of the businesses and put strategic people in place that could run the business for me. Now it's to the point, you guys, where I don't even know what jobs we're working on, where the crews are working, or who's doing what. But there is no way, shape, or form when I was 21 years old, sitting on the end of my bed, holding my head with excitement because I just landed a $4,000 job and a $4,500 job, could I even fathom that at one point I wouldn't even know what projects we were working on or even be concerned about them, because I graduated through my entire process, and now I'm on to different things, different passions. And that's how you can run multiple businesses with having multiple streams of income. It goes back to a few key words that I want to share with you. And those key words are key people. Key people. Let me put this to you very bluntly. My construction business would not exist without Frankie. You guys know Frankie. I know every component of the construction business. So the construction industry was a different journey and it's different education process. I started out by buying houses and flipping them, but I would focus on buying houses that needed no structural changes in them because I didn't know how to do structural changes. But eventually I would graduated by buying more difficult houses and more difficult houses. And then my wife challenged me to the most difficult project ever. We found our dream location, but the house was horrible. Literally, the only bathroom in the house was a hole in the basement floor. That was the toilet, and she wanted it. and she told me that I could build our dream house. I was scared, but because she told me I could do it, I did it, and then I taught myself how to pour a basement. I taught myself how to do footings. I taught myself how to do the framing, and I taught myself, using my own equipment, how to even build a log house when I had no clue. You guys can do it too. I know how to build a house from start to finish, but Frankie does it all, and he doesn't need me. Frankie does not need me. My lawn care division and my hardscaping business run because of Timmy. Tim, who's been with me for 20 plus years, runs both of those. He does not need me. He likes to have me around. He's the guy that likes to double check. Technical Tim loves to double check his stuff against me, and I want to be there for him, but I don't need to be there for him. Another key player. My real estate business in Costa Rica, I have another partner in that. He runs that without me. Entirely without me. I don't even speak Spanish. He speaks fluent Spanish. He handles all the legal components of it. We buy and sell land. We divide it up. We create developments, and he handles all of that. DirtMonkey University. Without Phil, without Callie, it would not exist. It simply would not be there. Key people. Your next step, the most important thing that you guys need to do is find key people. And the first thing you guys are going to ask me is, how do I find those people? You develop them yourself. You look for character, not skill. You don't look for people that already know it all. You don't want those people. The people that come into my business claiming to know everything are usually the most worthless pieces that I've ever had come into the business. Because you know what? They don't know everything. They know what they know, but they're too stuck in their own ruts. They're too stuck in their own ways to become flexible, to understand that maybe, just maybe, their way is awesome, but maybe some parts of their way is not so awesome. Okay. So this goes down that line of you can't teach an old dog new tricks kind of mentality. And a lot of times when a highly skilled person comes into a business, they're not flexible or open to different ways of thinking. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, there's always a different way to skin a cat. There's always different opportunities that are available out there. So whatever you do, make sure that you keep your mind open to opportunities that may be right there. Okay? So develop your people from within based on the content of their character. I sound a little bit like Martin Luther King when I say this, but it is the most important element that you will ever have. You guys are going to meet people for the very, very first time, and you are going to be impressed by their character, and maybe they have zero skills in your industry. But remember, your character is going to carry you further than your skills will ever get you. You can't develop character, you can develop skills, okay? So find amazing people, people you trust. Tim had zero experience 20 years ago, taught him everything he knew. Now I could not operate without him. Frankie, amazing character, he had all the skills. One of the exceptions to the rule, I can't teach Frankie anything. I don't want to teach Frankie anything. But again, Phil and Callie, amazing character. All of these people have the things that you need to team up with, and they're over and over and over again. Greg, Aquascape Academy, runs a $30+ million company. I've met every single person of his team. He knows, and they know, that business, that $30 million Aquascape Academy would not exist, would not operate if they weren't there. Fundamentally key, the most important thing you can do is bring on amazing people into your team. It's more important than your equipment. It's more important than anything else you can do. And those people are going to go through the same graduation process that you did, you guys. They're going to start out maybe as a laborer, and they're going to stick with it. They're going to work longer. They're going to work harder. They're going to have your best interests at heart. They're going to come to you and say, hey, boss, I noticed that, this happened on this job site, and I think we can improve that. And your ears are going to perk up. Your radar is going to go up and go,
This guy or gal is trying to do the very best that he or she can for this business. And those are the people that you have a responsibility to yourself, to your business, and to them to develop. Look for those amazing people, because that team, you guys, is going to take your business further than anything else. Your left and your right-hand man or woman is really where the backbone of your business is going to be developed. And that's how I was able to develop multiple businesses, multiple streams of income, and yet still traipse all over the United States, filming YouTube videos, trying to bring you guys education, trying to bring you good content, trying to do the best I can to continue the legacy that my father left to me. And if you guys, some of you guys have asked me why I do this, it's not everybody knows this story. I'll share that with you right now. Is I started working when I was 4 years old, 4 and 4. I was 4 years old, and I remember getting up at 4 a.m. with my dad, who brought me to work. And he made me he was a crop duster. He would make me pull the airplane out. And every time, as a little kid, I was able to pull the airplane out of the hangar. Here's the thing, you guys. It had a slight downward angle, so I really wasn't pulling much. And he might have been on the backside pushing. He's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you, son. You did it. I can't believe it." I remember that as a 47-year-old man, okay? And that work ethic, that ability for a person to take me under his wing, I couldn't be here if somebody hadn't taught me that. I would not be here. I would be an employee. Honestly, guys, I would probably be an employee at a 7-Eleven. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you do, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're not happy, you don't have to stay there. That's probably where I would have been. And when my old man passed away, I said, I'm going to continue his legacy, and I'm going to give away everything that I possibly can to help anybody that wants to help themselves do it. Now, I want to address another thing. If I want to give everything away, why do I sell? Why do I charge for DirtMonkey University? It's because you get out of something what you put into it. And now DirtMonkey University is the way I attempt. If you guys like my YouTube videos, that's awesome, but they're not meant to be educational. They're meant to be entertainment, 90% entertainment, 10% education. DirtMonkey University is the flip side of that. It's hardcore education. And this is what separates the wheat from the chaff. This is where the guys that really want to invest back into themselves go to get real training, real education, because it's 90% education, 10% entertainment. There's no jokes, no fun. It's all raw work. And that's why DirtMonkey University may not be for you. It may not be, and I don't care if you agree or disagree, because it's meant for the guys that are ready to take it to the next level, but it's work. It's plain and simply, it's work, you guys. It's not meant to be a cheerleading session. It's not meant to be a weekly morale booster. It's meant to make you put yourself outside of your comfort zone to grow, to understand hardcore things that build a business. And when I mean hardcore things, how do you actually calculate the correct operating expense of a piece of equipment? How do you understand your hourly overhead for the entire season in your business? How do you know when to time the market for different types of marketing materials? This is not your weekly rah session. This is completely hardcore education. That's why I developed it. And why do I charge for it? Well, because if I gave it away for free to you guys wouldn't take it seriously. You guys would come in, go out, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, it looks like a lot of work. But when you charge something, you're more dedicated, you're more committed, you're willing to put the time in because you're paying for it.
Now here's a fun social experiment you guys can try to do on your own. Take an old couch or piece of furniture that you don't want and put it out on the corner with a big giant free sign. You probably see these things sitting around neighborhoods and they stay there day after day after day. But now take that free sign off from the couch and put $100 on that sign. All of a sudden, the next night, that couch magically disappears. See, perceived value goes a long way, and it's no different for anything else that you do. If you give something away, even if it's extremely valuable, people don't take it seriously. But when you charge for it and they're investing their own time, their own money into it, they're more likely to take it serious and they're more likely to pull the value out of it.
Here's a story that I like to share with guys. I went down and I did a speaking engagement at another academy. They charge $500 per month with a $2,500 entry fee. And I went up to the guy and I says, you know, you gotta do something, drop that price down. That's food on the table, that's the mortgage payment, that's an equipment payment for a lot of guys. And the guy looked at me and he poked me in the chest and he said, F them. He said, if they can't afford my program, they don't deserve it. He looked me dead in the eyes and said that. And that's when my light bulb went off and I said, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to make it hyper affordable, but I'm not going to give it away. I want guys to have skin in the game. That's what I want from you guys. So whether you enjoy these YouTube videos, that's phenomenal. But some of you guys want more, and I wanted to share with you exactly what DirtMonkey University meant, why I built it, what it's built upon. And if you guys are still wondering if it's worthwhile, you know what? I think we still got a free week, and then I think it's 59 bucks a month. I don't even know. You know why I don't know? Because Phil and Callie run it. But I know we don't charge an arm and a leg. We don't charge 500 bucks a month because we want the guy that has nowhere else to turn to have a home that he can learn the best information that not only I can give, but 400 other contractors working together. It's cooperation, it's not competition. Remember guys, we have a principle. It's cooperation, not competition. That's all I got for you for today, guys. I rambled on a long time. I don't know if you guys like this. I don't make these videos because I don't know if you guys like them. If you do, you gotta tell me. You gotta tell me. This is raw, real, it's just education. There's no fancy stuff. The lighting probably sucks because I'm driving. I don't know how the audio is, but that's what I'm just bringing it to you guys. I hope it helped you out. God bless you guys. Tell me in the comments down below. God bless. Go get him, you guys. And I love every single one of you guys. And I want nothing but the very best for each and every one of you. And I am out.